Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the first Weeb Nation podcast. We're an anime club at the University of Washington. My name is Thomas, and I'm joined by two of my friends today. Why don't you just introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Nathan.
I'm Raj.
And today we're just going to be starting things safe, and we're going to be talking about popular anime of this season. Hopefully this goes well, and this gets off the ground and we do more. Or it fails, that's up to you guys. So, first one we want to talk about is, honestly, what I think is the biggest anime of the season is ReZero Season 2. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, without a doubt, it's the most anticipated, at least, anime of this season. ReZero was really popular back when it aired first, and it's still really popular now for good reason, I think. What's your take, Raj?
I mean, yeah, it's just honestly, it's been too long. You just see too many ReZero memes. You're like, God damn it, when's it coming back? Now it finally came back this summer, so it's just like, finally.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 years, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong. I'm
Yeah,
not completely sure.
yeah, it was like
around there,
2016, right? Yeah, it was like
Yeah, I think
2016.
2016, right? Yeah.
But, now that it's back, what do you guys think about the anime as a whole? Light novel readers notwithstanding, as an anime, how do you think it holds up today? And is season two on the same level of quality so far as season one was?
I don't read at all, so I have no idea. I'm going completely blind on like every anime. And I think ReZero Season 2 has started off really, really strong. I think it's like the quality so far has been better than the first season. I think if they keep going like this, it could be like amazing.
Season one kind of started off slow because I mean every anime does. They start off slow, then like it ramps up. But like yeah, season two kind of starts off with like hard hitting episodes like immediately. I heard like from like one of my friends is a light novel reader. Like yeah, he told me like this season is gonna be like basically like peak ReZero.
Like,
Yeah,
even
I've
like
had a similar experience.
oh yeah, my bad. You can keep one.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience as I was saying. One of my friends also reads the light novels, and he basically told me that the season is going to change everything. It's going to be absolutely wild. And so far, it looks like it's heading in that direction. I'm pretty excited where it's going to go from here. But let's rewind for a bit. What about ReZero makes it so good? Why is it so? It's popular for a reason, right? So why is it popular? Why do you guys like it?
Well, the first obvious reason why ReZero is so big is it's an isekai. It was one of like the first big isekais, and we know how big that genre is currently. So, why I like ReZero specifically is like I like how like the characters develop and stuff. I think it's like an isekai that like the thing that broke me into it was like people called it isekai with a twist, like it subverted the genre because you don't have this super OP protagonist that's just killing everything and gets all the babes. It's like half of that, but like the return by death thing was really cool. I love stories that have a mechanic like this. I think Edge of Tomorrow is one of my favorite sci-fi movies, and there are other examples, but I'm drawing a blank right now. But ReZero uses it, and I think it was really cool. Like the pilot episode was split into two halves, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, honestly, like the reason like I enjoy ReZero is basically like yeah, story and like character development. Like you see like Subaru, like you see like different points where he has to like make like dumb decisions and stuff. And, like you just see like a bunch of like character development that's happening at each of those moments. So it's just kind of like I just enjoy seeing that.
Yeah, I think when I
Yeah,
first watched oh, I'm sorry. Did you? I don't say that.
you can go ahead.
Okay. When I first watched ReZero, I actually did not like Subaru as a protagonist. I thought he was like super annoying and dumb. But like rewatching
Wait,
ReZero,
let me make one comment about that.
oh,
I mean, I can see why you don't like Subaru. He's kind of
no, but
there's just like
I'll
a
say
lot
like
of
but when rewatching it, I actually like him now. After
yeah. I
rewatching
mean,
ReZero, like I
yeah.
appreciate it a lot more. Like
Like honestly, the most people don't like Subaru because like the big thing is just like the whole Amelia, like I love Amelia crap. That's the reason most people don't like Subaru.
Yeah, like I think yeah, Subaru is absolutely like one of the biggest points of contention for ReZero. I think like a lot of the discourse I see online, whether or not people like ReZero depends heavily on whether or not they like Subaru. Yeah, in my opinion, I think he's a fantastic character. He's very flawed, right? And I think that's why people dislike him. Because he's absolutely not a perfect person. He's absolutely not like the average in your face justice isekai protagonist. And if that's not your style, then that's fine. But like as a character, he is pretty well written, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when I was like rewatching ReZero, I was like, I paid a lot more attention to like the character development, like what his character arc means, and like what ReZero is like really about. And I really liked like how characters like him, Rem, and Amelia like focused on this like journey of was like learning to love yourself, which I thought was like really powerful and was like really like resonated with me a lot when I initially watched it, and that's why I like kept watching, but I didn't really fully understand it until I watched it again, I think.
I mean, yeah, I think just like the whole like dynamic, like the dynamic between those three specifically, they just like carry the show a lot. To be honest, for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of we got very recently in season 2 an episode about Subaru's backstory, which I think was pretty fantastically received by
Yeah, I was
everyone that
gonna talk
watched
about that
it.
also.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't want to like spoil in case like nobody has like caught up with it by the time of this recording, but like, yeah, episode 4 came out like a couple days ago, and I thought it was amazing. Like,
I think it was honestly the best episode, like best written episode of
exactly.
ReZero.
Like that's why like watching the episode. That's why I think ReZero like season 2 has so much potential because that episode was so good, and we're only like 4 episodes in.
Yeah, it's only 4 episodes. It's already started out this good. Like I'm actually pretty hyped for like the rest.
Yeah, like I was already feeling stuff. And back in like ReZero season 1, like it wasn't until like episode 18 where I was really like, oh my god. But like now I'm already like I'm super hooked now.
Yeah, think of like the episode where like I'm not sure if this is spoilers, but I'm just gonna say anyways. Like the episode where like at the end like he freezes to death, like where he like sees everyone like dead, and like he froze to death. That's the episode I think that's like turned it around for me.
I absolutely agree with everything you guys are saying. The episode 4 was it. I think it really showed why like Subaru is a great character. It gave us a lot of insight into how or like why his character is the way he is. It was kind of like a long needed foundational aspect that we finally got. Now that we have all this like foundation set for ReZero and its characters, where do you guys think it's gonna go now? Like as the
Mm,
narrative and in terms of character development.
don't really know, but just from like the first couple, like considering what's happened in the first couple episodes, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a very, very Amelia focused season. Like we're just gonna learn more about Amelia, what her goals are now.
Oh my god, I hate Amelia.
You don't like Amelia?
No, I'm not a big fan of her. I know like you guys like know like I make jokes of like oh Amelia's better than Ram. Like that's like sarcasm, but like I just find her like super bland as a I don't know like everything she does is just I don't know I never find it entertaining. Like I don't see anything with to her as a character.
Mm.
I'm a Rem boy, so I am slightly biased, but I I like Amelia, but I do think she does need more development in my opinion. I think like the first season she was like just like sat around. I feel like her character is like the character that seems to like do no harm. Like she's like the goodest girl.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of like irritates me with her. Like she doesn't like have like any bad qualities to her, like in terms of like her actions. She doesn't have like those bad qualities.
It's like for her character, it's more like the world is like unfair to her, and that's how she has to deal with it, and that's like her main struggle. It's like people are racist against her, and so it's like she feels powerless because she can't control anything. She's like a victim to something she can't control. But like again,
Yeah.
it's like an outside factor, and it's like I wish there was more stuff that was like her own like inner struggle or like something like negative. So there's like more of an arc, you know?
Yeah, like of course the the racism thing is very compelling, right? But we're yeah, I agree. We're still lacking that sort of internal component that characters like Rem and Subaru have gotten. Yeah, I do agree that we're probably gonna get more of her this season. She did take kind of a backseat in the first season, if I remember correctly. It's been a while,
Oh yeah, she
but
definitely did.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking really forward to where ReZero season 2 can go. I don't have much of a guess on where the plot goes. I'm guessing they're gonna do more stuff with like the archbishops or just the witches in general, like the witches of like the seven deadly sins.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's they always said like the witch of like envy, like in the first season. So there was always you would assume that there was six other witches representing the other sins. So now we're finally getting to see them in this season. At least the one we saw was the Witch of Greed
Yeah.
so far.
hmm
yeah.
And like Betelgeuse was like the archbishop of Sloth, I think, but we don't actually know what that
Yeah,
one
even
looks like.
saw. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've known they've existed, but
Oh.
we haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, speaking of the Archbishop of or the Witch of Agreed, what do you guys think about her so far? Because we've talked a lot about the protagonists of ReZero, but we haven't really talked about the potential antagonists or like the people kind of working in the background.
Oh yeah, when on in her first appearance, I had no idea. I thought she was an antagonist like right off the bat. I was like, oh, she looks evil, just like her color scheme and everything. But then they're just like talking, she was wanting him for tea, and I was like, I don't know if she's an antagonist anymore. She's a lot.
Yeah, like in the trailer, I'm pretty sure if you I'm not sure if you watched the first trailer. Remember that like when Subaru was like walking and he like sees like everyone dead around him, and then he sees Echidna like just sipping tea.
Yeah,
And I was like,
that's why I thought
wait,
she was the villain. But then like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But then like the
But
show
like
itself, it's like there's nothing. It's just grass.
honestly, she might be best girl this season.
No,
Honestly.
she was a lot cuter than I thought during her first appearance.
Yeah, I thought she was like super evil, but like she's kind of like a airhead in a way.
Yeah, she was like, oh no, I really want company. It's actually cute. It was weird, but I think that scene in the trailer, maybe it's like a later part, and like it'll be a big reveal for all we know.
Yeah, she really does seem like one of the like background actor, mysterious type characters so far. But I guess we'll see if she has spooky ulterior motives. I personally like her because she is voiced by Maya Sakamoto, who also voices John from Fate,
Oh,
I believe.
Ooh.
But other than that, yeah, we basically know nothing about her other than she's like spooky.
all right. I want to ask you guys one question. So you probably know what my thoughts are, but what do you guys think about what's happened to Rem, the Rem situation?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
oh yeah, she's in a coma right now. Yeah.
Yeah. They spooked her
Honestly, kind of
again.
sucks. Yeah, honestly, kind of sucks because like, you know how like people were complaining about like one complaint they had like about last season was like why didn't Rem show up in like the last few episodes? Now we're not seeing her like for a while either in the
They gave us
season.
an
Yeah.
explanation.
I mean, they give an explanation, but like still, kind of sucks.
Yeah, I love Rem, so I was devastated. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I can like I'm not completely destroyed by it. I think I can kind of agree with it from a storytelling perspective because like Rem got her development. I think if she continued to be in like relevant in the story, it would mainly just be like fans like me just wanting to see more screen time. But I think she got all the development she needed for now, so they can focus on Amelia. And then Rem also serves as like the goal now, which is like because at the end of the first season, it was like what were they gonna do next? So with this, it's like oh now there's like a clear like oh they gotta go find the witch of gluttony.
I think that because like completely removing her from the narrative, right? That I don't agree with that as the storytelling method. It's kind of like what is it? Okay, spoilers for Attack on Titan. It's like what happened to Annie in Attack on Titan, where she just got deleted from the story for
Yeah, right,
like
right.
plot purposes. So I feel like it's a pretty lazy way to like basically get rid of someone because you don't want them to be relevant for a while, and we don't know how long Rem is going to be gone, right? Like only light level readers know that. For all we know, like she could just still be frozen.
Oh,
So
I want her back.
yeah, like
We all want her back.
depending on how her like getting whisked away from the narrative is handled, I think it could be potentially really bad for ReZero just because like she was such an important part of season one. She's incredibly popular, and there are alternatives to just freezing her, right? Having her play more minor parts in the story to let the other characters develop things like that, and not letting her get a chance to do that. I think has a bigger potential to be crippling than be beneficial to those characters' development.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's really up to like how they do it.
Yeah,
I can think of ways they could make it like we don't know, like Ram still doesn't know about it, and so there's like interesting stuff there, like
Yeah, there's
because
like a
like
lot
Ram hasn't
of
gone too much development, so this could be like oh more development for her too, but we'll see.
yeah. Like again, we don't know what's gonna happen, so it could go anyway. But
yeah, it's
that
still pretty
that's
early.
yeah. But I think that's one problem point that might not get resolved in the cleanest way, potentially.
All right, I think we've talked a pretty good amount about ReZero. I think we should move on to our next anime.
So next on the list is Oregairu season 3, which is going to be the conclusion of the story. The ending of the light novels is already out, and this season is going to follow the story through all the way to that ending.
Something
Wait,
I want to
actually,
like,
it is?
yeah, actually, I didn't know that either. Actually,
I thought there was
Um,
gonna be like one more season. Oh, I didn't know it was gonna be like the end.
I believe like the subtitle is climax. It's like
yeah,
yeah, Origairu, and the ending is the last part of the title is climax. So I believe yeah, it is the end.
as far as I know, it's supposed to conclude the narrative the same way the light novels do.
And this is another sequel to a pre-existing
Yeah,
series. And I just want to like note this is like something I noticed is like this season there were a lot of sequels this season, and
yeah,
not that many like original like new anime. A lot of them are just like
yeah.
follow-ups to previous ones.
Of course, this is partially due to COVID, but this season is generally also just stacked with ongoing anime.
Yeah, a lot of
But
these are supposed to come out like in spring. I think all of them were supposed to come out in spring originally.
yeah, but moving on, I kind of want to start this the same way that we started the ReZero discussion. Why is Origir so popular, and why do you guys like it?
I myself like I'm not like the super biggest fan of Origaru because like I'm not the biggest fan of just like romantic comedies too much. But I think what I think makes Origaru like so different from all of them and like makes it more popular is like how real it feels. It feels really grounded
Mm,
compared to like other things. Like I feel like the character interactions feel a lot more natural. I like the chemistry between all the characters.
What got me into Orgo was just like it was basically like yeah, it felt like really yeah, it felt really realistic for me at least. Because like you kind of like think about like what would you do if you're one of these characters? You're like I would probably have done something similar, or like I would have thought the same way. You kind of just there's like a lot of relation you can see between yourself and some of the characters. That kind of what makes it enjoyable for me at least.
yeah, I think what it does that sets it apart from a lot of other rom-coms is the way it does its characterization, right? You don't see characters like Hachiman, especially in pretty much any rom-com, and even the other main characters, they have a layer of depth to them that you don't see in other rom-coms.
Yeah, I think what was also refreshing about the series is like there's like barely, if like any tropes at all, that are like found in other rom coms, like stuff that's used for like cheap laughs and all that. Like that's just not here. Like this is just like very grounded.
I kind of want to make a comparison to ReZero almost because they're both very like whether or not you like those two anime are very dependent on whether or not you like the characters in my opinion, and they're very dependent on whether you like the main character in ReZero's case Subaru and in Orgeiru's case Hachiman. So what makes Hachiman like unique as a character? What sets him apart from other generic rom-com protagonists, do you guys think?
I think it's just his pessimistic nature, and like just you like see like what he's thinking about in every single episode. You like every time like he has like an interaction with someone, you see what he's thinking. You hear what he's thinking. I feel like that's what like makes you like him as a character. I mean, I'm not sure about like him as a character, but like it's kind of like unique. At least for most anime I watch, you don't get to like see like how the main character's thinking half the time. You just see what they do in their actions. But like Hajimon, you like see what he's constantly thinking.
Yeah, I agree with like what you were saying earlier. Like yeah, like one of like his biggest things is how like cynical he is. It's just like fun to just watch him interact with people, because like we were saying, like our guy who's like not like super tropey or anything. There's like he's not super happy-go-lucky looking for love. He's just like a guy. He just talks, and like what I like,
he's just a dude.
What I like a lot is like compared to like other rom-coms, something I absolutely hate in rom-coms, especially like comedic ones, is misunderstandings or like characters not saying something and then something going totally wrong because of that. Hachiman is really cool because he just says things as he wants. He says whatever's on his mind, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, honestly, I get what you mean. Like a bunch of these rom-coms are just like there's like that one like giant misunderstanding between like a bunch of characters, and that just like leads to something dumb. Like, and you're watching, and you're like, how do you not realize this is like a huge misunderstanding? It kind of like irritates. It kind of irritates me a lot. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what irritates you. You will not like Gamers if you ever watch that.
I watch Gamers. Oh my god, don't get me started.
I love Gamers.
You love Gamers?
Not really. I think it's hilarious for certain reasons, but like as a show, it's like okay.
Yeah, it's like fan service, but like it hurts me. But we're getting off course.
Yeah. I think another important part of what makes Hachiman so interesting as a character is that like because you get to see a lot of his thought process and how he like does and says things, he ends up being like at least a little bit relatable in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like as a character, he's kind of like the odd one out, and he always he has this like persistent sense of like isolation, I guess, and there's that that constant and ongoing narrative of him wanting something genuine, right? And I think that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we all have like those moments where like we're like the odd one out in a group. We feel like we had those moments before in our life, at least. I think at least once we felt that way. Yeah. Everyone did. Everyone has. I think we just, and like we see that in Hachiman. We're like, yeah, I think at one point in my life I did feel like this, and that kind of like that builds the relation between like the person watching and Hachiman.
Yeah, I think that's like a big part of like how you make a character good and like appeal to people. It's like you make them like feel real, like relatable, like you could imagine that this was a real person, or like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think Hachiman does that. I think I relate to him a pretty good amount. Like I like how he's like I said before, I like how he's cynical a lot of the times. I feel like, and just says things as they come to his mind. Like I like that, and I think I'm somewhat similar in a way. So I don't know.
Yeah, on the other hand of that, though, a lot of people that don't like the show I think their main criticism of it is that it tries to be like fake deep, that like it tries too hard to tell a message. Because of that, it arguably undermines the characterization and the narrative. I personally disagree with that, but what do you guys think?
That's like a criticism that goes to like like when people critique like certain films and stuff. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, it's like trying so hard to be deep. It's trying so hard to be profound. I'm like ultimately how we perceive media is like up to ourselves. So I'm like, if you see it's deep, you see it's deep. If you don't, then you don't. It's like, but I don't know. Like sometimes things might be trying to be more than they appear to be, but ultimately it's like up to our own perceptions. So I'm just like, I don't know, to each their own.
Yeah, honestly, like, I never really, I get what you mean when you say, like, oh, it's fake deep, or it's trying to be, like, too philosophical, but, like, I don't know, I never really, like, saw it that way, at least, I mean, whenever I watch, like, any show or, like, read any book, I don't really, like, I'm not taking it for like the philosophical value. I'm just like reading. I'm just like reading or watching for like story. To be honest, I don't really care about the deep philosophical meaning of it or like the message. The message is trying to tell me. I just read it for the content. To be honest, or watch for the content.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar situation as you because I'm yeah, like when I watch the show, I just think it's just people being people because like I'm not gonna like slow down on keyframes, look at objects or certain words they're saying and be like, oh, that means this or this is symbolic for this. Yeah, I'm just like consuming things at face value. Honestly, people might not agree with that,
Yeah,
but like that's how I choose to consume media.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like you're in an English class. You have an assignment. You have to like analyze certain lines or like certain scenes of like whatever you're reading or watching. It's like, I mean, you're just watching on your own time. Just you're not trying to like think too much. You're just watching it and just taking it in.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, right? Like the media is pretty much up to you as like a consumer of the media. Like not everybody's gonna get the same thing out of the same piece of media, and that stands like just as true for any anime, including Oregairu. When people criticize it for being like fake deep, I think that's wrong because it can be as deep as you want it to be. And it really just depends on how much you relate to the characters, how much you or how you perceive the characters, and how much you want to interact with the narrative. I guess.
I mean, it's not like Origari like pushes like the message too often. I guess it kind of does in some parts of the anime, but like it's not like being too like upfront about it like on occasion. So I don't really like. It's not really like forcing a message.
The last thing I wanted to ask was so it's a romantic comedy and and earlier we were talking about ReZero, we were talking about
Yes.
how we think it's gonna go and this is the climax. So how do we think it's gonna end? You know, who do you think he's gonna end up with, or maybe does he not end up with anyone at all?
I mean, like I'm gonna give my like guess. I don't like it, but if you watch the opening, there's like a lot of references to snow, and like it's like focused on Yukino a lot. So I think I'm hinting at like Yukino and Hachiman at the end, but that's just from the open. Just like looking at the opening, there's just like a lot of like references to like snow, and she's the main focus on it in the opening. So it kind of just like I think that's how it's gonna go down.
Yeah, like I think like I also think it's Yukino. Like I think she was like the first girl that I think she was the first girl that was introduced. She's like a kudere, and kuderes are very popular. I believe they are like very often the
Yeah.
one. So that's another thing I think about. And but based on the OP actually, I thought like what if I would actually really like this if they did this, but like I think there's no way they're gonna do this. Like but like what if Hachiman ends with no one? It's all platonic and like what if it like I thought like what if Yui and Yukino end up together. Like maybe it's like best friends or something if they like don't want to go all the way. But I thought it was because like in the OP they're like I don't know, it's kind of cute and I think their interactions are really nice. Like to me like when I watch them it reminds me of a lot of like the Tifa and Aerith's dynamic from Final Fantasy VII.
Ah.
Like as I'm watching the series and I was looking at the OP, I feel like the same way, and I'm like, who knows? I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Yukino's gonna end up with Hachiman, but we'll see.
Yeah, that actually is a fantastic idea. Okay, disclaimer: I've accidentally spoiled myself on the light novel ending, so I know how it ends.
Bro.
Don't tell us anything.
I will say that like before I accidentally spoiled myself, what I thought was gonna happen was I'd probably along the same line as Raj. Like I thought that Yukino was gonna win. Whether or not she does, I'm not gonna say, of course.
I also think Yukino is gonna win. I've been thinking that from like the first season, but I've got the dream idea, but I'm pretty sure it's Yukino.
Yeah, but like I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen, but like I don't like it. I think Yukino is kind of like the most boring character for me, at least. Like the most boring main character.
Yeah,
I kind of see that. It's like
that.
I think it's mainly due to her archetype, like of like a kudere.
Yeah.
Like because like it's something we see a lot. I think she's like I do like her though. Like I don't have super strong feelings towards either of the characters, honestly. I think my favorite is actually Yui, but like not like I'm not like oh my god Yui forever. I'm like I like her the most.
My favorite character is Shizuka, the teacher, but there's no way she's
Bro,
Oh
gonna
shoot,
he's
you're
the
right.
best girl.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
he's the best girl.
The teacher is my favorite character. You're right.
Yeah, honestly, she's the best girl. Like, no one beats her.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The teacher is the best girl, but she is like I don't even know how many years older than him.
yeah.
I
Like
think like 10 years older.
Yeah,
if she won, that would be problematic for multiple
yeah.
reasons. So
I don't.
Dude,
get into that.
we saw what happened with Never Learn. We Never Learned, dude. They're doing multiple routes.
I believe.
All right, that's like another rabbit hole that we probably shouldn't dive into. But yeah, I have strong feelings on the way that We Never Learn is handling the ending. But back to Orgaira.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I remember like it was either in season 1 or 2, I believe. Hachiwan's talking to his teacher, and then she's like, and she says something to him that's super inspiring. I can't remember what it was. Unfortunately, it's been a while. And then he's like, "Oh, if only you were like the same age as me." And I was just like, "Oh my god, feels bad." Because I think
Yeah,
it was the teacher.
I remember that. Other than that, though, I guess closing remarks. Do you guys have anything to say?
I don't know. Like, it's still kind of pretty early, so it's not really too much we can say, to be honest.
I'm so excited to see where it goes, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna hold on to my predictions, but I still think it's gonna be Yukino. But a man can dream.
Yeah, same here. I guess I can always hope that it ends the way I want it to.
Do you dream of a different ending than the real ending since you know it?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. All right, I'll take it.
I don't think I'll divulge anything about the ending, but as far as Orga Years goes, I think we've covered a lot of the bases. Let's move on to our final topic of discussion for episode 0 of our podcast, which is The God of High School by Studio Mappa.
Yeah, just like for our time constraints and whatnot, yeah, we're just going to cover three of the ones we thought were the biggest, at least in our community. So
yeah,
God of High School. This is the second anime in this new wave of webtoon adaptations.
Yeah,
Your God of High School's hype though. It's pretty freaking hype.
I don't read webtoons. I don't read anything. I'm illiterate, so I don't know anything about it so far. I just know it's just fights, just fighting.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
as a concept, it's very exciting, right? It's just like the tournament arc of a shonen anime. But everybody loves tournament arcs,
but it's
so
like,
we just make the entire thing a tournament arc.
yeah, it's just tournament arc forever.
Dude, I just like fighting. I just like fighting anime, to be honest. It's just like all the fights are like really good, like well done too. Like it just like makes it like super like cool. It makes it like super hype to watch.
Yeah, I do want to touch on the story for a bit, even though the story isn't really the main focus of the show. What do you guys think about how it's going so far, like narrative-wise?
I didn't even know there was a story.
I was about to say the same thing. Like with the first couple episodes, I was like, "Oh my god, there's so many fights." And then you just asked that question. I was thinking the gears in my head were whirring, but I don't know. It is a tournament arc. It's like it's a very like simple like classic story. It's like basically just a battle royale, big tournament thing. Winner gets their wish granted. Like that's pretty like standard.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, it definitely appeals to people who are fans of classic shonen, right? Like again, the whole tournament thing, and people that just I think everybody loves a good fight scene. And God of High School is full of good fight scenes.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know. It kind of like gives me like it kind of just like reminds me of Dragon Ball Z. Like as a kid, like Dragon Ball Z was like the coolest thing ever, and like because of the fights. And I kind of like, I think God of High School is kind of the same thing for me right now. It's like the fights are just like that good for me that I like it.
Yeah,
I like the show.
Yeah, I was about to say like since it's like it feels very much like classic shonen. I feel like God of High School is like a very like it could be a good gateway anime to a lot of people because like you said like everybody likes a good fight. Even if you don't watch anime, people will watch a good fight. Like look at Kimetsu or like look at Demon Slayer, look at One Punch Man. Like if you see a cool fight scene, people want to watch. So I think Tower of God like could be a really good gateway anime for a lot of people too because it's all fighting. Stories like not super like you don't have to like remember like a million names and words and all that.
And of course, we have to kind of at least compare this to Tower of God because that's the only other webtoon anime adaptation out there. And they are quite different in terms of what it's focused around. But what do you guys think?
Tower of God specifically, I've been reading it since like I would say like late 2017. So like yeah, I mean I've been with the I've been with Tower God for like a long time. I never read God of High School. I've been meaning to for like a while, but I never got into it, or I never just found the time to. But like yeah, like Tower God, I think the first season is technically. I mean, people might see the first season as like pretty slow. I can see why, but like Tower God, the first season is kind of like a prologue to the main story. The main story is basically just season 2 onwards. But like God of High School right now, like I don't think like it doesn't emphasize story and like character development as much as Tower God does. At least for me so far. Because I mean it's still really early in God of High School, so like we'll probably like see like story play a bigger part eventually. But like right now it's just I think they're just two completely like different things.
For me, like I said, I don't read anything, so I'm not really familiar with webtoons. So I don't really know how they differ at all from like other kinds of like written media. So like to me, like I'm completely blind to these things. So like for me, watching Tower of God, watching God of High School, it just felt like another anime. Like just all I know is like the source material is different from normal. Like it's not it's like from like a different source than normal. Like it's not like completely original, and it's not manga or a light novel, but instead like webtoons. But like to me, it's like I don't see a difference. If that makes any sense. Like to me, it's still like just an anime like that has a source. But I don't know how being a webtoon affects it. Like I was wondering if you guys could like elaborate if you guys have know anything of like if you guys like feel anything about this.
Yeah, sure. I think I generally agree with what you're saying. Like webtoons, they're very similar to manga. Then the main difference is the way that the panels are formatted. Instead of manga, like manga is like page by page, right? Like you flip the page and then you get new panels. But the way that webtoon is usually formatted is that the pages you scroll from top down, and it's like usually like it'll be formatted to look like one continuous image basically with like very few breaks in between. That's really the main difference. Like there's a lot of overlap between webtoon readers and manga readers. They kind of cater to the same audience or the same sets of audiences. Yeah, like you said, when a webtoon gets adapted into an anime, it just looks like an anime.
I'm a little
Honestly,
curious.
it's not that different from manga. It's not like manga from Japan. Webtoons are from like Korea or like other places that are not Japan.
So I was curious. Now I'm curious more about them because like I don't know anything about webtoons. So you guys said there's just like one long strip. Do they still have like pages of these strips, or is it just like the whole chapter is one long strip?
The whole chapter is usually one long strip. Like some
Yeah.
sites, usually like scraper sites, will have them in pages, but the way they're meant to be read is in one long strip, and they're also usually full color, which is another difference from manga.
Yeah, that's a big difference actually for me at least. Like it's all on most of them. I mean, the ones I read, they're all in color.
The more you know.
Yeah. Other than that, I guess a lot of the importance of the God of High School is how it and Tower of God are potentially gateways for other webtoons to get adapted into anime. In terms of that, what would you like to see, Raj?
Solo leveling, number one. Dude, that's obvious. Solo leveling the anime would be like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, since you don't know Thomas, solo leveling is super popular. It's a webtoon that came out a couple years ago. And it has a lot of like it plays a lot of isekai tropes, like a person with game related powers, and the art is very well done, and the fight scenes are very well done, and it's also very edgy. So a lot of people like it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about webtoons, but I have heard solo leveling before, so maybe that's a testament to how popular it is.
Yeah, I think if you ever read it, you would be a pretty big fan.
Oh man, if only I could read.
Oh
yeah, like there's like a few other webtoons that are like really popular that like if they ever got like an anime adaptation, that would be like really cool. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Bastard. Yeah, it's about like a serial killer, but like it's actually really cool. And it's just like you just see like the characters in that are like really. I don't know how to explain it to be honest, but like because I don't want to spoil it if you never read it, so like I can't really say too much. That's like one that I'm like hoping actually does get an anime eventually or like gets considered.
I think correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think Noblesse is actually getting an anime adaptation.
Yeah, right. I never read
along with the God of High School.
Never read
and that certainly appeals to a different crowd than the other two webtoon adaptations currently.
Yeah, like I never read Noblesse, but like yeah, I know that's like a big one that's getting an anime. I'm not sure. Wait, did it come out or I'm not? Or am I not thinking correctly right now?
I don't think the anime is out yet. I know the webtoon is complete, so it recently finished like a year ago. So that's also another potential for a long running adaptation if they want to do that.
Yeah, there's like a lot of these like good webtoons that are like if they ever got an anime, I think like people would be really into it.
And what I think that's really exciting about this is also the fact that this could potentially open up gateways in the perhaps far future for other sorts of media to be adapted into anime. Um, like even potentially, I know a couple of books that were not light novels have been adapted into anime before, like Shinsekai Yori, which is one of my absolute favorites. But I think it'd be really interesting for like popular like fantasy novels to get anime adaptations eventually, and that's kind of far fetched, but one can dream, right?
Honestly, if Lord of the Rings ever got an anime, that'd be pretty sick. To be honest,
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sick. Song of Ice and Fire, that'd be really really sick. But I'm not sure if that's even possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm just imagining right now. That's actually like I never really thought of it that way, but like that would be pretty cool if that anything ever like that ever happened.
what about you, Thomas? Is there anything kind of out there that you think would be fantastic as an anime?
Not like I can't think of anything right now, but maybe you get back to me. I don't know. Nothing off the top of my head. All right, I think for the last couple minutes we should just go back to high school and just talk about just simple things as like hopes, concerns for the future.
Yeah, back to God of High School. As far as how I think it's gonna go, I mean, like we already said, it's a very simple concept. So I just kind of hope that the fight scenes maintain or improve on their quality, that they keep power scaling to a reasonable level, although that probably won't happen. And other than that, just continue being exciting and generally easily digestible.
For me, I remember one big thing when I was watching the first couple episodes that struck me a little as like odd when I was watching it was so the premise is it's a mixed martial arts or just like a martial arts tournament. So I was like, oh okay, so there's like it's like Dragon Ball, they're just gonna fight each other. But then I believe it's in like episode 3 or something. Yeah, at first I thought everything was practical. There's like punches and kicks. Then like episode 3, I believe. I can't remember her name. It's the girl with the glasses with the sword. Her sword gets knocked out of her hands, and then she says, even without this, I even unarmed, I have a blade. And then she attacks her opponent with like air waves, and I was like, wait a second. And then in the next episode, there's a guy summons a giant like clown monster like as a stand, and I was like, oh, this is supernatural martial arts.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like complete realistic martial arts. I mean, even the first couple episodes, you're like, okay, this is kind of BS. This is not Taekwondo, or like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but like, yeah, I think it's gonna go in that direction where like you're gonna have like Dragon Ball kind of just went from like simple martial arts to like shooting beams out of your hand.
Yeah, for me, it didn't tip me off yet in like the first couple episodes. I just thought it's like, oh, it's just like anime like exaggeration, like oh they hit harder than you think they would, and it's like more impact. They're like they're like more durable because yeah, like it's an anime, it's fight anime. But then they actually use superpowers, and I'm like, oh okay, I see where it's going. But that's like the brings me to like what you're talking about power scaling. We'll see how ridiculous things get. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Like if it goes the same direction as like Dragon Ball, things could get kind of wild. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, who knows? But
Honestly, I kind of find that to be a good thing. You're just like, wow, how much stronger can they get? They're like, can they just like break whatever limits that they had? Or like, dang, how much stronger can he get again?
For Dragon Ball, I'm a big fan of Ultra Instinct, so I think it'd be super sick to see someone go Ultra Instinct to dodge everything. That'd be cool, and that'd make kind of some sense to martial arts. It's just like, oh yeah, you react to everything. In terms of like plot and stuff, I think it's like very simple. Like we said, it's a giant tournament arc. I believe this tournament arc, they said the winner of this tournament goes into another tournament. So it's a tournament arc for another tournament arc. And so we'll see how things go. I don't imagine
Yeah.
I don't imagine the plot is going to become like super complex. I think the characters probably have some potential. I think they've got like so far they've established like pretty interesting backstories. I think so far, like what they're fighting for, why are they fighting, and I think that's hopefully they can elaborate more on that. But I think personally, I think God of High School is not gonna be like this super big anime. I think it'll be like a really cool one. I think it'll be something you could show to your friends, get them into anime, and then like just have a good old time. But I don't know if it's gonna be like something that's gonna have a lasting impact, like maybe the other two series we talked about.
Yeah, I agree. And
I
yeah,
think it'll be
again,
like one of the like mainstream like animated like I think eventually it'll become one of those mainstream animes like Dragon Ball or like Naruto, like something like that. I think it's gonna be one of those kinds of anime that people like first time anime watchers will like get into.
yeah, definitely has potential there. And yeah, I think the most important thing is that no matter how crazy it gets, like the important thing is that whatever's happening is digestible, right? Because the concept is supposed to be pretty simple. It's all about how they execute it. The way they show it to the viewers is the most important part.
Yeah, I just want to see cool fights.
Yep, that's pretty much it. If they punch each other real cool, if they shoot lasers at each other real cool, I'm happy. Any closing words before we finish off this pilot episode?
I'm not. No, I don't really have much. Yeah, we just had like a small sample of stuff. One thing I just this is I want to ask the people listening is if we didn't talk about an anime you wanted to talk about, like you want to hear about that's in the summer season right now, and you would like to recommend it to us, or like maybe we could cover it later, like feel free to tell us. Yeah, like there's definitely like more anime this season. There's a couple other big ones that I don't know. I don't think we covered. I can't think of them off the top of my head. I think
Fire Force.
Yeah, Fire Force season 2. I didn't finish the first season, so like I don't know how much to say about that. But like there's some other shows. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you guys want us to cover, like just tell us. Yeah, and then maybe we'll do it in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys got anything?
If you guys, whoever's listening, enjoys what we're doing, and hopefully we can have people, other people, come on and talk about stuff that they like. And of course, our topics for this first episode were pretty safe, right? We just talked about popular stuff that was airing this season. So if you guys feel like this has potential, we are going to hopefully spend other episodes talking about other stuff that might be more interesting to you. Try to branch out to more experimental topics. So I had at least above average time. And thank you to our editor, Justin, for working on this in post-production.
And yeah, that does it for episode 0 of the Weeb Nation podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, if you guys would like us to do this again, and if you guys would like us to cover a specific thing, like please tell us. We would like to do more of this. We think it's pretty fun. But yeah, we're nothing without our community. So if you'd like us to do more, please tell us. And I hope you guys have a great day.